Big Sills, National Football Show. Welcome aboard. Happy Friday to you. Once again, we are power-packed, and my good friend Barrett Brooks is going to join us at the bottom of the hour to talk some ball, and he and I are going to go over the draft. The Eagle draft, the NFL draft. Maybe the Eagles do take at number 30, the running back from Texas. We're going to hit on that. I was just telling Tone he was listening to some of my stories, so we're a little bit behind here. But you know what's crazy? People think broadcasting is where I got my fat mouth. It's not true. It is not true. So, Sports 24/7 comes out with a brand new list. I thought back in 2011, I think it was 2011. Tone, you can Google this. Sports Illustrated put the all-time sports team, including the Flyers, including the Pistons, the Miami Heat, and they ranked the most hated teams in American sports history. This was years ago, like 2011. And Sports Illustrated had this list, and of course, my 1986 Miami Hurricanes team were more hated than even the Philadelphia Flyers because of our attitudes, Jimmy Johnson, how the nation perceived a bunch of very vocal African-American kids. Hey, Tone, how about this one? In an era today where you can't say anything, can you imagine putting this out there? Miami Hurricanes, they're the only team that takes a team photo from the front and the side. They were writing that about us back in the day. Here, they got a brand new, this came out 6 hours ago. My wife's like, they're still talking about you guys? Number 10, UCF, 2017. Tony even said it. Damn. 2009, the Johnny Manziel Texas A&M team. These are the most hated college football teams of all time. Number 8, 1993, Notre Dame Fighting Irish. 2002, Ohio State Buckeyes. 2017, Baker Mayfield, Oklahoma Sooners. 96, Gators. 2014, FSU Noles. 2010, Auburn Tigers. Look at this. 2005, USC Trojans, and the number one college football team and the most hated team, which means to me the most memorable, is the Jerome Brown, Big Sills, 1986 Miami Hurricanes. The birth of swag, they write. Miami was so talented in this era, the Hurricanes caused instant chaos for the opposition. This is when the U became college football's bad boys. Then Sports Illustrated writer Rick Riley said it best, Miami may be the only squad in America that has his team picture taken from the front and the side. Basically, inferencing that we would be in a police lineup. On a team loaded with future NFL talent, Johnson basically didn't believe in suspensions and handled all disciplinary action in-house. That included several slap-on-the-wrist penalties, shoplifting, fraud. Miami swag wasn't enough, though. We lost to Penn State, but these guys got off the airplane in fatigues, machine guns, handguns, knives. Testaverde throws 6 interceptions. They would go on to win the title. But what caused this hatred was Miami blasting Notre Dame by 51 points in the original Catholics versus the criminals. Actually, we were called convicts. My daughter still to this day calls me a convict. Over a 5-year period, Johnson went 52-9, 87 title, top 2 finishes, 3 times, putting together one of the greatest runs in the history of college football. was great to be part of that. It was great to be part of success. You think there's any coincidence that Jerome Brown brought that attitude to Philly? With Gang Green? How they looked at you guys? Body bag games? Plus you had Buddy Ryan? I like that kind of attitude. I embrace it. You can't do that shit anymore like you could back in the day. You can't get off an airplane with a gun in your hand. Okay? But then again, sports writers can't say these guys belong in a police lineup. Or calling me. I went to a Catholic high school. Okay? I went to a Catholic high school and they called me the convict. I was like, okay. Let's not forget Jerry Sandusky off that Penn State team that beat us. What was he doing? Right? So, interesting. Anyway, Steven goes, Canes hated you guys. Paul goes, you guys brought cool to the map. Jerome was the driving force of that. They were just afraid of us. I don't know what it was. I loved all the guys from Overtown, Liberty City, Belglades. I walked into places where a lot of these African-American kids had nothing, and their only hope was making it to the NFL. To this day, all those guys are my brothers. I so love. You know, somebody said something to me a couple days ago on social media. Sills, you know, there's a lot of things about race on you. Yeah. You know why? Because I was in it. I was in it with those guys. Dude, Big Sills is not a racist. He's a Miami Hurricane. End of story. I'm a Miami Hurricane. I'm a Jerome Brown Miami Hurricane. By the way, Tone, I don't know if you guys saw this. Have you seen the 2023 Philadelphia Eagle Kelly Green helmets? I am so stoked for those helmets. Have you seen the new lids? Or I guess retro lids that they're going to wear in 2023? Google it. They're the Seth Joyner Kelly Green helmets. Dude, dope. That is a badass looking helmet. Those helmets look so amazing. I'm throttled, man. I can't wait to see those helmets on those players this coming 2023 season. I can't wait. By the way, we're going to get knee deep into the draft again. Guys, can we do a conversation today without people getting upset with Big Sills? By the way, we've got the draft numbers again. 2 first-rounders, 1 second, third, 2 sevens. That's before compensation picks. Before we get Barrett Brooks on, guys, I want to have a conversation. A conversation. Are you ready? Do you think you're going to pay Jalen Hurts $50 million? Okay? Do you think the Eagles are going to pay Jalen Hurts? I don't know what the framework's going to be. 4 years, 5 years. I don't know what it's going to be. But do you think they're going to pay him $50 million? Tyler goes, no. Carson says no. Brett says no way. James, yes. How about this? Let me throw it around this way. Do you think that it could get around $50 million? Niner says 49. You think it could get how about this? Between 48 and 50 million. You think it's going to get around there somewhere? Somewhere in that room? 40. Okay, let's just go M. Reyes. 47 to 50 million. Again, folks, this is a conversation. So let me throw this at you. Well, if you're going to pay between 47 and $50 million, why wouldn't you make a trade with Baltimore and give that money to the better player in Lamar Jackson? Some of you will go like, he's more accomplished and he's 1 year older. Some go, well, he hasn't played a full season. Well, neither has Jalen. And Lamar's missed 9 games over the last 3 years. Hurts has missed 3. Okay? That's got to play into it. Wait a minute. Before you say hell no. Why? He's 45-16 with really nothing on the team. He's thrown for 12,000 yards. I don't believe Jalen Hurts ever leads the NFL in passing touchdowns. And again, I'm having a conversation here because I made the comment to you yesterday. If I'm going to pay Daniel Jones $45 million, I'm going to go talk to Derek Carr. I'm not talking to that idiot. Bob goes, Hurts is a better leader. Hey, Bob, I do have an ass with the way that whole contract was handled. I do. And it would make me pump the brakes on a conversation like that. Guys, don't ever think that organizations don't have at least a conversation, albeit a small one. But Hurts is not better than Lamar Jackson. He's not more accomplished. Some go like this. Well, he got to a Super Bowl. Well, Carson Wentz and Nick Foles won one. And they can't start anywhere else. It's not like those guys are stars. You paid a bum star money. Carson Wentz is going to be cut by Washington. Nick Foles can't get a job anywhere. It's not like those guys are stars. They won a Super Bowl. Both of those guys got to a Super Bowl. Okay? Plus, Baltimore would get 1 more year on a rookie contract. Again, it's a conversation. Jackson, see, here's something that I don't get also on the Lamar Jackson. Does he want out or does he want more money? I still can't figure that out. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, does he want out? Does he want to go to Miami? Does he want to go Carolina, Atlanta? What does he want? I don't get what he wants. Okay, I mean, I'm still trying to figure that out. Now, look, again, I'm going to tell you again. I'm going to tell you one more time here. The way that whole contract was handled by DaCosta, by the owner, Steve Biscotti, by John Harbaugh, by Lamar himself, absolutely would make me pump the brakes on any conversation. Paul says it's guaranteed money. Lamar's the better player. Jalen was on a better team. Yet to be determined if Jalen Hurts could take a team like Baltimore to the playoffs. It's yet to be determined. Okay, we're going to find out soon. Personally, I don't think the Eagles are going to dive off the cliff as much as people think. I think they're going to make a couple steps back, but then again, I don't think the NFC is all that hot. Okay? Do you really want to see a broken locker room? Okay, there's something to that too, Blunt. Do the Eagles want to go back over that? I hear you. Blunt, those are all good takes. Sills, do you want to divide the locker room like they did when Wentz and Foles were in the building? No, I do not. No, I don't. But if I'm going to pay $50 million, I want to explore everything. Don't you? Don't cut yourself off and your conversations off by expanding all scenarios. And then what you do when you put all scenarios on the table, you funnel it down to what's best for your team. What do you think Lamar Jackson would do with that offensive line, with those receivers in Philly? He's never had that. He's got a tight end. That's it. Actually, it resembles a little bit what they have in Kansas City. The team that Lamar Jackson has is the team that not so much. They're going to have better players in Philly than they have. But Baltimore's been one of the gold standard organizations over the last 15, 20 years. It's been a gold standard organization. Now, the last couple of years, since Ozzie has left, I question some of the moves, especially the handling of Lamar. Okay? Mayhem goes, Joyner said that Jalen's only going to get better. My friend, on January 16th, Lamar Jackson just turned 26. Jalen Hurts in August is going to turn 25. You're making it sound like Lamar Jackson is 5 years older than him. He's not. He's not. He's right around the same age as him. And he's a unanimous MVP in the era of Brady, Rodgers, and Mahomes. Only Peyton Manning has ever done that. We're not talking about a non-accomplished guy here. So don't sit there and go, well, Jalen's better. No, Jalen's gotten further. That's not what his resume says compared to what Lamar Jackson has put up here. Since he's been in the league, he's thrown for 12,000 yards. The completion percentage is a little low at 63.7. I would say this to you. Jalen is becoming a better passer than him. I would agree with that. Lamar's the better athlete. Who's the better quarterback? I don't know yet. 101 touchdowns to 38. Quarterback rating of 96.7 since he's been in the league. Those are all fabulous numbers. And here's the one that's the most fabulous. 45-16, and he's missed 9 games. You know, I went back and looked at that and went like this. Man, I'm making it sound like, you know, he's missed a ton, and he really hasn't. Again, I'm talking here. It's a conversation. If you're going to spend that kind of money, would you just focus on one house, one car, one person? Or would you expand your thought process on what you want to really look at and what you're really doing? Do you really believe that Jalen is going to get better and better and better when the roster becomes lesser and lesser and lesser? I don't have that answer. Okay? I don't. The roster in Baltimore has failed Lamar Jackson. And again, the conversation too, I agree with you guys. You got to worry about dividing your locker room. You got to worry about injuries with both guys. You know, somebody posted on my Twitter page. They went like this. Sills, Lamar Jackson has never fulfilled a full season as a starting quarterback. Well, neither has Hurts. Neither has Hurts. Both these guys are not going to have full seasons at any time in their careers. It's the dual threat. Now, is there more mileage on Lamar? Probably. Again, I'm looking at both sides here. If I'm going to pay Daniel Jones $45 million one more time here, man, I'm going to expand my process to look at everything. And I'm not putting Daniel Jones in Jalen Hurts or Lamar's category. I'm not. Shit, if I'm New York, I send Daniel Jones's ass to Baltimore and I bring Lamar Jackson up to New York. You're talking in a room now where now we're at Neiman Marcus here. Again, this is no shade. Look at what we're doing here. We're talking about whether or not to have Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts as your starting quarterback. Do you know how fabulous of a conversation that is? It's like Ferrari and Porsche. It's like Aston Martin and Bentley. You're not going to go wrong here. Okay? You're not going to go wrong here. Both guys are massive competitors. I do have a problem with the contract negotiations and how it was handled. Okay? Daniel Jones is a puke. He's Mitchell Trubisky on Halloween. That's who Daniel Jones is. I'm not talking about Daniel Jones and Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson. That's an insult to the other two guys. Sydney brings up a great point. Sills, Hurts has worked his way up the mountain. Yeah, but Sydney, how would you like to be told to try a new position and that pig-headed Bill Polian telling Lamar Jackson and his mom the only way he's going to play in the NFL is at a different position? Don't you think that's working your way up the mountain too? Or even my friend Tom Telesco wanting him to work out at wideout. In 2019, he was a consensus and unanimous MVP in the NFL. He made all those guys look like tools. Isn't that working your way up the mountain too? Right? Both guys. Don't forget Barrett Brooks, bottom of the hour here. Okay? And again, this is a conversation here. When you are bringing $50 million up or $47 million, you have to look at all scenarios. Wait a minute. Don't you think that the Eagles have even thought this? Hey, man, do we let the kid play out his rookie contract and let him go into next year with 1 year remaining on his deal? Do we allow that and then pay and then pay the big money at the end of the contract? Okay? I mean, what, you don't think they thought that? You know they have. That's why it's all quiet on the Eagle front here. Des, I agree. I wouldn't let him get into that. Shit, I wouldn't even let it get to training camp. I'm talking the July training camp when they go on July 27th. I wouldn't let it go that far. Because once it's gone that far, I may want to invest in myself. But you're going to be on a lesser team? Well, no. You may be on the same team. Hey, can you imagine if Jalen and Clutch Sports does this? Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to play at the $4 million deal here. Since we don't have a deal before March 15th, you know what I would do to the Eagles? Bring everybody back. Jalen has the same type of year with the same roster. You'll have to pay that guy $55 million. You bring that team back, he's not going to drop off because the team's not going to drop off. I guess the question is now, who has the leverage? Who has the leverage? Is it Jalen or the Eagles? Lamar Jackson's out there. If I'm Howie and I'm Jeffrey Lurie, you have to use Lamar Jackson as leverage. Well, we can't get a deal done. We'll go to Baltimore and get him. You don't want it to get there, but you've got to create leverage. You don't want a conversation like the Cowboys had with Dak and his people. You can't. France, his agent, had the leverage over the Cowboys and Jones. That's why they overpaid him. Who has the leverage here? Well, you know you've been hurt. That's a little bit of leverage. You lost the Super Bowl. He was spectacular. I don't know how much leverage you think you have there. But you've got to create an opportunity for yourself when you're negotiating. Like, you see the Giants. The Giants are going to go, well, we could draft a guy. We have $53 million in cap space. Jimmy Garoppolo's out there along with Derek Carr. And if you don't sign, we'll go down that road. Again, I'm not saying the Eagles and Jalen Hurts and Clutch and Nicole and all those folks are in that conversation. I'm not remotely saying that. All I'm asking you is, don't you, if you're the Eagles, want to explore all options? Here's $50 million, Jalen, and no defense. Here's $50 million, Lamar Jackson. I know what you can do with no defense. They had no defense the last 2 years in Baltimore. He still won games. He's a couple years removed from a unanimous MVP, and he's only 26. He just turned it January 7th. I looked his age up. $45-16. We're not talking about a bum here. And the only reason I bring this up is because you can't allow the player to have complete leverage in negotiations on you because they'll hold you hostage. Would you entertain it? I want this negotiation with Jalen to be as smooth as possible. I don't want any bumps in the road. I want it to get done. I want it to get done, though, so that we can have a good team around the kid. Tony, again, this is conversation, Tone. I think Hurts is the type of person that you don't leverage against. Probably so. He wants to win and wants to be in Philly. Business is cutthroat, but Hurts, Tony, I believe you're right, Tony. If Derek Carr was on a stacked Eagle roster, he'll be an MVP candidate too. Probably. Peter goes, you don't know Jalen, Big Sills. No. But I enjoy watching his climb. I enjoyed listening to him. You're right. That's one of the key fundamentals here, Peter, on how I am able to do a show, because I don't personally want to really know him. I want to watch him. Me getting personal with Jalen Hurts, I don't really care to. I want to watch him play, because if he sucks, I'm going to say it. If he's great, like he was in the Super Bowl, I'll say he was spectacular. I don't care to know the player. I care he wins. I care he represents himself. That's how I care. Once again here, before I bring Barrett on here, I want to one more time put this out there to you. Every single team, when they negotiate, Barrett Brooks, I've been listening to him now for 2 years now. Barrett had 2 careers. His first 5, where they looked at him as a starter. He had 1 bad game in his 12 years that defined him the rest of his career. Do you know how hard it is in that league and in the front offices around the NFL, when that starts circling around? Hey, he's a really good player. You could slide him into guard, left tackle. He's a really good dude. He's a really good player. But being called a Swiss Army knife, that's not what he aspired to be. He knew he was better probably than some of the guys that started ahead of him and were getting more money in other places. That's a lot of luck. What I'm saying to you is, if you're going to pay a guy between $47 and $50 million, you look at that guy in Baltimore and go, well, he's 26 years old. He's 45-16. He's missed 9 games since he's been a starter in Baltimore. If you're Howie and Jeffrey Lurie, you got to build leverage against Clutch Sports, because you listen, and I'm not, hey, and again, all I'm saying is that organization's not just going to go, here's a blank check for you. They're going to say all kinds of shit. Let's bring my friend from Sports Take, Barrett Brooks, in here. And Barrett, this is a cutthroat business, man. I mean, and again, but watch this. Do I have a problem with the way Lamar and Baltimore handled that deal? I surely do. Okay, they put the deal ahead of winning, and that thing should have been rectified. But again, I don't think people understand that all these front offices, Barrett, they look at every single scenario that's out there, and they funnel it down to what's best. So I'll ask you, do you think that this deal with Jalen gets done before free agency starts on March 15th?
They're going to try like hell to get it done. They're going to try to get it done because we know Howie likes to get guys in before they can get fair market value. Now, what's happening now is there are a lot of good free agent quarterbacks that are out on the market right now, and they want to sign them before that money starts going. They want to sign them before Lamar gets his deal. They want to sign them so they can set the market instead of have somebody else set the market for them. There's going to be a lot of contracts right now, and we're going to see probably 2 contracts of over $500 million, man.
That Joe Burrow deal, Justin Herbert, Lamar.
Yeah, I mean it's some money out there, so they're trying to sign these guys before everybody else. So the market's not set for them. And Howie's been pretty good at that. The way he signed Lane. Lane is Lane is the best tackle in football right now, and he's probably the 8th highest paid guy in the league.
He's $18 million right now.
That's nothing. That's nothing compared to what he could be in a market for right now.
$25 million. He'd make if he went out in the open market lane right now, he would make $25 million what Trent Williams is making.
Easy. The guy hasn't given up a sack or a hit this entire season or last season. We're talking about the premier tackle in the league. Played with just one nut for the last 4 games of the season. I mean, come on, man. We're talking about the best offensive lineman right now that played in the playoffs, and he's only making 18. So that's how we do it. It's just like Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert is one of the least paid tight ends in the league right now compared to what contracts are now. Even with, what Patrick Mahomes is making, we thought $500 million, $503,000, $502,000. I mean, $502 million. That's what he's getting paid on a 10-year deal. Well, now he's making only 45 a year. A-Rod is making $5-6 million more than him right now. And Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL. So that's what I think Howie's trying to do. Howie's going to make sure he signs this guy early and quick, But, I mean, I do think they're dragging their feet too much right now. They should have had that deal done before the season was over with. And why don't they have their coordinators in there? They can't spend any money with their coordinator, with their players because they don't know who's going to be the coordinator yet.
Can you imagine this, Barrett? Think of this for a second. Jalen Hurts and Clutch Sports and Nicole made money just keeping their faces shut because that stuff that's coming out of New York right now with $40 to $45 million for Mitchell Trubisky. Oh, excuse me, Daniel Jones. I mean, Jalen made $10 million, Barrett, just with those idiots and what they're trying to do.
Absolutely.
7 years, 210. Come on, the guy had a game against Minnesota, but he's a stiff.
Bruh, they didn't let him go outside and play outside the gate until the last 3 games of the season. He couldn't even play outside the gate. He had to stay inside the gate. You know what I mean? He wasn't allowed to go out there and throw the ball. It was Saquon left, Saquon right, Saquon and Wildcat. They gave him a little power. He got outside the gate. He showed he could throw a little bit. Because the quarterback pool is tight, he's going to get that money, man. So they just made, you're right, they just made $10 million just because of Daniel Jones is right now. It's going to get over $200 million for 7 years.
That's insane. I mean, Garrett, man, we both should slap our moms around a little bit for having us a little bit
too early. Bro, and look at Sayamalu. Sayamalu, the bar's already set for him. Sayamalu,
I think 14 a year, do you?
Oh, no. I think it's going to be more than that because look at who his coach is. Big V was not even a start. He started not even half the season. He started a quarter of the season. He got 5 years, $50 million. And this was 3 years ago, 3 years ago. Can you imagine what Sam Marlowe's going to make now? Just because he went to Stoutland University? Stoutland is so respected around the league that he's getting guys he's going to get guys paid. I mean, he's gonna get at least right around that 16, 15 mark. Watch what I tell you.
Hey, Barrett, if I'm at the Combines next week, dude, I'm walking in front of the Eagles and going, hey, if I'm an old lineman, hey, I'm over here. Hey, I'm over here. Don't forget, I don't care if you take me in the 6th round. You took Jason Kelsey, and I'm over here.
Right.
It doesn't matter where you're drafted in Philly. If you're an old lineman, you're going to play.
Stalin has guys just leaving, and they can't even you got to clear waivers. It takes 4 hours to clear waivers. Those guys are getting signed at not even 4 hours, 3 hours and 59 minutes. That's when they're getting signed, because it's ridiculous how well respected he is. So, I mean, he's going to get paid. A lot of these guys are, man. So, I mean, they're behind the buck. Everybody's saying, well, they're going to sign CJGJ. They can't afford CJGJ.
No way.
He's going to get a contract, 5 years, $75 to $80 million.
Watch this, Barrett. CJ is going to get, but here, if you're Howie, do you pay $14.4 for a safety?
For a 1-year deal. CJGJ, I think I would. Why?
$14.4 for a safety.
Well, see, that's the dynamic. That's the dynamic that he has. He plays corner and safety. He can play man to man, and they're classifying him as safety, and that's what they're going to bring him in on. That's what Howie's going to say.
Okay, so you're going to
that's
play
what Howie's going to say
with him.
Yeah,
you're going to play dirty ball with him and go 14-4, put him at corner.
Yeah,
and he could have got 8. Oh, that's a dirty game.
That's exactly what they're going to do. Oh, you know, you're a safety, so you got to be slow and say. We saw what happened over in San Fran when it came to Debo. Kind of the same thing. We're going to pay you at the safety level. You know, the cornerback level is 18-1, 18-2. We're not going to pay you that. We're going to pay you 14 around where the safety is. So I at the very least, I think they're going to go ahead and sign him to a tender. They're gonna sign him to a tender. They're gonna get a franchise tag, and he's gonna probably make 14.4, and he's gonna be pissed off about it. But that's more right now. If he goes into free agency and they don't let him go into free agency, he'll make every bit of that. You know, so whatever 75, 80 million over 6 is, he'll make that money easy.
How about this, Barrett? Getting to the coordinators here, one of the reasons that I think they're looking at the college coordinators, that guy Schumann in Georgia, is because I don't think he knows any more or any less than Leonard or Fangio. But what he does know, Barrett, is stuff that you and I love. Think about all the kids that he's recruited around the country that are going to be in the draft, that are free agents, that are coming up. I mean, I think one of the greatest advantages that Jimmy Johnson and Pete Carroll had is because those guys recruited all them dudes around the country. Why wasn't this guy a first rounder? Well, he was 6'1" instead of 6'4", but he's a hell of a ball player. And you know these guys are good, and you get guys like Larry Allen in the 12th round.
Exactly.
Or you get Tony Tolbert, or you get some of these guys in rounds that you don't have to spend premium money on. So again, I mean, he was recruiting Michael Strahan out of Southern, and he was a second rounder. And he goes, they were going to take him in Dallas. So he knew who he was when he was recruiting him to try to go to Miami. So do you see that similarity there? That's probably why they're looking at it.
And by the way, he just happened to have Nakobe Dean on the squad,
right?
Davis on the squad. He had Quay Walker up in Green Bay, and you see how he's playing right now. He's got Walker down in Jacksonville. So, he can make these guys good. So,
and this kid Carter coming out is going to be either him or Will Anderson. So again, I mean, I don't know. So again, I mean, the top priority for you though, let's do some draft here. The top priority for you, is it corner at 10 or is it edge?
I'm gonna go corner right now. And I'm going corner because right now we have 2 guys in Hassan Reddick and Sweat, and Derek Barnett, who is a good player when he keeps his head screwed on straight. You know what I'm saying? His play after the whistle is what gets him benched a lot of time because he's getting those penalties. But I believe they can handle it on the edges. Once Bradbury leaves, because they don't have a snowball chance in hell in signing Bradbury. Once Bradbury leaves,
$16 million.
Oh, he's out the gate. He's out the gate. There's no way they get him. He's gonna sign somewhere for big money. You know, at least that. So they're gonna need a cornerback there, and they don't have enough to go out there and buy one of the guys that are on a free agent market. They don't. Yeah,
the kid from Baltimore. They're not going to be able to spend the money for that guy.
And I don't know if he fits the culture of that locker room. Also,
agreed.
He doesn't fit that culture in that locker room. But hey, playing, sometimes you can, put blinders on when you can play the way he plays. You know what I'm saying? They need to go out and get somebody that they can raise up through the ranks. They don't have to pay right now. And the guys you mean, like Gonzalez from
Oregon.
From Oregon.
Hey, by the way, I asked Mario about him last night. He's a transfer from Colorado initially early. Okay. I didn't know that either.
Me neither.
He transferred from Colorado, and they transferred him into Oregon. So I don't know if that plays a factor or anything. So that means Darrell had him.
Yes.
Up there. So he was a defensive coordinator at UCLA. He's been in the NFL a little bit. So, I mean, then he goes to Oregon. So he's got a pedigree of being coached by some pretty good people.
Oh, and then look at what's the name? Witherspoon from Illinois.
He's a lovey guy.
Lovey guy. You know, you can't lose with that. Or then
I love him.
Joey Porter. I know Joey had his son out there practicing with us. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's you know, he's gotten training from NFL caliber players. You know, Joey Porter was a coach in the NFL for a long time. So, you know, he was around those guys. You know, he's out there doing drill with, you know, NFL talent. So there's ties with all three guys of NFL caliber coaching. So any one of those three, if they can get them around 10, but see, we're talking about Howie though. Howie has never stayed at 10 when he's supposed to stay at 10. He could be trade back. Maybe he trades up, but I think he's going to trade back because he doesn't have a pick from like the 4th, 5th, and the 6th round. He's gonna be sitting there, you know, twiddling his thumbs. All right, what are we gonna do? We got to do something. We got to do something. We got to do something. So, you know, that's tough on him. You know, so that's definitely a factor also.
You know, Barrett. I tried telling people yesterday, 10's a really funny position to pick in the draft because guys all fall in that position, or people get overdrafted or underdrafted.
Yep.
And going into the combines. Get this. So Joey Porter is ranked right now the 21st pick in the NFL draft. Now, again, after interviews, after combines, guys shoot up or down. So we'll know more after. But going in, he's 21. So at 10, pre-combine, you would be overdrafting a need. And this is why guys fail. Like, look at you. Folks, look at a guy like Barrett. Barrett was, I believe, were you a second rounder?
I was a second-round pick.
Okay,
yep.
So Barrett was underdrafted. Okay, so Barrett should have been, in my opinion, you probably go from 15 to 25. He's probably in
That's where they slotted me to put. That's where they put me at.
So he's probably between 15 and 25 if you were to redo it all over again. But he went in the second round because
you know why,
guys
right?
fall.
You know why? Because your boy, Sapp and about 15 of his boys were in their room smoking. Put a towel down by the door. And all 15 guys got popped because they got drug tests. They thought they didn't have the drug test again.
And you were one of them?
No, I wasn't one of them.
Okay.
But all those guys dropped to where I was supposed to be at.
He was supposed to go to Minnesota, and Dennis Green said it to his death. The biggest mistake he ever made. Get this. This is why he took Randy Moss. He went like this. He goes, I'll never make that mistake again. He let Sapp fall. Okay, can you imagine they had him next to John Randall, and them two guys
Come on, man.
would have been on the same team. That's why they went and got Moss.
Yep. So they messed the whole entire draft up, man. It was Kirkpatrick. I mean, all those guys, you know, were in my draft, and everybody fell and made me fall out. And then they had Trezell Jenkins. Trezell Jenkins played for Michigan. Never played a snap. He was there for 3 years. And they gave him a deal. He got third round money in the first round, and that's why they signed him, because they signed to a contract like that. So I was supposed to go to Kansas City. They called me. They were about to sign me. Trezell Jenkins said, "Look, we'll pay you this," and I ended up making like $1 million more than he did on after I got drafted on draft day because he took less money to be drafted in the first round.
Let me go here. I heard you say this at 30, running back, and Robinson from Texas, Bijan Robinson, is the only guy that's going to go on the first day. Now, he's going to go to the combines. Here's his history, because I talked to Sark the other day about him. He was a 5-star kid, could have went anywhere in the country. But, Barrett, that program, get this, they have 53 4- or 5-star kids on that Texas Longhorn program, and they ain't done shit with it.
Right.
And, I mean, dude, you get beat by Kansas now. It's incredible how they've underachieved. But I threw Le'Veon Bell at you. You could put him in the slot.
Perfect. Yes, that's the perfect guy that you could kind of look at his skill set. And makes bad. I talked to the coach here in Temple was his coach in college. The guy that's here in Temple. And he said, this kid can do everything. He's always been that shining light. He said, man, I don't know how the talent that they had. My boy was the wide receiver coach. They had the best receivers in the league. I don't know why they just underachieved the way they underachieved. They got everything carte blanche to them. Those kids want for nothing. How are they losing? How are they losing?
It's just shitty coaching too. No defense on that side of the ball. Let me throw this at you here. Some replacements. Just a couple more questions for you, Barrett. How about Tyrod Taylor as a backup? He's a free agent, and you could put him. And by the way, he's comfortable in that role. He went to the Pro Bowl 1 year in Buffalo. He's not exceptionally old. And in case there was an issue like we just saw, instead of having an idiot in there like Gardner Minshew, we put Tyrod Taylor in there who kind of matches Jalen's skill set. And you have a guy that's not going to be that far of a fall off the cliff if you've got a guy like Tyrod Taylor, and he's comfortable in the role.
And can help Jalen coach Jalen. He's going to be one of those guys. He's going to be a coach when he's done playing. Him or Jacoby Brissett, one of those two guys would be perfect. And both of them will probably command about, $5 million, which is nothing compared for what you're paying back up.
Well, Mitch is making $2.5 now, $3 million. I mean, that's not that far up
exactly.
the ladder there. How about Teddy Bridgewater, too?
Teddy, I don't know. Teddy's a little frail now, man. He's getting hurt. You look at him now and he gets hurt, bro.
That Minnesota injury starting to catch up on him.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it
is.
Miami should have been a lot better than what they were last year. Miami should have been better, way better.
Absolutely. Quez Watkins, what do you do at the 3-hole there for the Eagles? I mean, obviously, you and I agree. I mean, he's got to catch that ball in his hands and hit both his hands. I mean, between that and the Alshon Jeffries drop, Barrett, I mean, those are two Eagle drops that will always haunt that organization the year after the Super Bowl with Foles and that drop. He's got to catch that.
Dan,
I'm sick of it.
If you're a backup, you get paid to do one thing. You get paid to if me, I was a jack of all trades. You know what I'm saying? I'm Swiss Army knife. I play guard, center, and tackle. If they called me in there, play goal line tight end. But when they called me in there, I was going to do my job. His sole job is to catch the 9 route, to catch a go route. That's all they asked him to do. Catch the long pass, and he couldn't do that. Come on, man. They didn't ask him to do anything else. When they did ask him to do something else, they saw how bad he was, so they stopped asking him to do it. But then they tell you in the biggest sense, look, man, you got to catch the ball, man. You got to do it. That's my sole job.
You know, Bear, my problem with him was he never volunteered to be punt returner or kick returner.
Right.
I mean, when you're the 3 guy, man, you're looking to be a long snapper. You're looking to go on punt wedge. You're looking to stay on the roster, man. I mean, between him and Andre Dillard, I hated both their attitudes.
Bro, I was in Green Bay. I asked Coach, look, Coach, put me on kickoff return. You know what I'm saying? Whatever it takes to get a check, I'm going to do it. You know what I'm saying?
I want one of those chairs. Hey, I had Seth Joyner on the other day, and let me tell you, this thing blew up, man. I mean, even your boys at WIP were all over this thing here. And I heard what you said. I see, Barrett. If you're telling me, wait a minute, so Alabama and Nick Saban and Jalen Hurts, they coach those kids hard, so they coach them softer in Philly than they do in Alabama. And I'm paying you.
It's not even.
I pay you to talk shit to you,
right? But I'm saying, it's not even just in Philadelphia. It's everywhere in the league. You say something wrong to a guy in the league right now, they'll fall apart, bro. They'll fall apart, dude. Right now, you look at these kids now, man. Like Seth goes in there, he's going to expect greatness. Seth is going to expect you to play like he played. And that's exhaust every single thing, every single ounce of you for the good of the team to stop and play whatever it takes.
Yeah, but Barrett, okay.
Well, these kids will ask why. And that would drive Seth nuts. What do you mean why? They want to know why. Because I told you so. That doesn't work for these kids these days. They want to know why things are happening. They want to know why. You yell at a kid, man, they might go into his shell, bro. They might go, they'll be done for the rest of the week, man. You'd have to go call 3 psychiatrists for them.
Barrett, let me give you a story, and I'm sure you got one of these as well. I mean, you know, I'm sitting in my rookie year, and I'm listening to this guy, Leroy Selman talking about playing a 3 technique. And I'm like, I didn't say a word. I've never been in a meeting where I didn't say anything. Then I get in another meeting and I got Randy White and Ed Jones in between, and they're talking about playing defensive line. And I'm like, and I didn't say a word. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, well, I try to do this here, and I put myself in I cheat on the 3 technique, depending on splits and such. And you're just listening to these guys talking like I was with Seth the other day. How don't you want that knowledge? Because you and me know this. Hey, you could kill anybody in college if you're just stronger, faster, quicker.
Exactly.
In the NFL, dude, I'm playing against Don Mosbar, Bruce Matthews, Mike Munchak. These fuckers all have insane technique
and strength.
Hey, the Ray Donaldson head fake. I had never seen anything like that in my entire life.
He faked inside like that
once when he did that to me. I was like, "What in the hell is that?"
Inside, and then he jump on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, dude, doing this thing like this, and he's over here, and I'm like, "Wait, what going? What the hell?" I mean, but as an organization, wouldn't you want that kind of knowledge in the Kobe Dean?
No, he just would not fit.
By the way, I agree with you.
Yeah, he wouldn't fit. He wouldn't fit. He would be a great defensive mind, a great coach in that organization. But could Seth tone down who he is? And I can't see I can't see him undermining who he is, because he knows what he is works.
Howie, what are you doing in here? Do you mind?
Right.
Hey, what are you doing
exactly
in
right.
here, man?
Look,
I'm here with my linebackers. Do you need anything? He would stop the meeting probably and do this. Can I help you?
Right.
And then you're sitting, and he's like, no, I just want to come in and.
Well, guys, hey, Seth, these guys got to go. They got to go home. Yeah, we'll go home once I finish this lesson right here. We'll finish this. Let me finish this first, and we'll get back to it. Bro, they're not as strong-willed, as strong-minded as when I was in the league, when you was in the league. It's just totally different, man. You wanted to sit down. I wanted to sit down and talk to guys that were all world. You know what I'm saying? I sat down and even Bill Romanowski was the biggest prick in the world. But I wanted to know how I could beat him. Right. But I wanted to know how to beat him and how to play against him. And I asked, and any question I asked, he would answer. He was a dick though, but anything I asked him, he would answer it. He wasn't that type that wouldn't tell you. He would tell you. But you wanted to know how I could get over. Or I came to ask him, hey, how can I beat Dennis Stubblefield? What can I do to beat him? Well, when I played with him, he always got lazy in this point and that point. He gave me little keys to help me. So, you want to play against the best, and you want to talk to the best, because that's how you become better.
I swear, Barrett, I've kept it longer than I said I would, but I got 2 last questions here. And I'm going to say this to you. Brandon Graham, Jason Kelsey, and Fletcher Cox, with all the new faces that potentially you could see on defense, is it important to sign those collective 3 for your culture in your locker room if you're going to have a lot of new ideologies, maybe a new coordinator? You're not going to elevate Wilson. Is it important to have players like that? And I'll just use the Patriot way when Brady was up there, the Eagle way on what they've done since the Super Bowl. Is it important to get those 3 back in the building?
It would be important if you weren't paying the quarterback. Since you're paying the quarterback, you just can't do it. That world that they've had the past 2 or 3 years,
it's over.
It's gone now. You pay the quarterback. I mean, Howie's got to make his money now. He was GM or whatever you want to call it of the year. Well, this year, if he can go out there and duplicate what he did last year, he would be all world. He would have Fortune 500 companies coming and knocking his door down. If he'll be able to do that and get these guys in here, I just can't. It's just not feasible. It's not possible that he can sign Fletch back. It's not possible he can sign Hargraves back. It's not possible to sign probably, Bradbury back.
Well, Kaiser White and Hey, Barrett, watch this. I think TJ, Minnesota, dude, Hargrave is not coming back. The Bears have $94 million.
It's a done deal. Yeah.
I don't even know how you have sucked for a while to get to that number. But he's going to command. I hear Minnesota, because they got to stop the run. Chicago, New England, he's got a massive market, and CJ's going to get a massive market. Bradbury, and watch this with Kaiser White. Here's my thing with Kaiser and Nakobe Dean. Okay, well, are you completely confident that Nakobe Dean can play and he's going to be a player? Remember something, Barrett, when he was at Alabama or Georgia, he had Carter, he had Jordan Davis, he had Walker, he had that Wyatt kid. Them are some big-time players and big-time dudes. And if you don't have really active players in front of you, I mean, don't you think – I mean, I think the linebackers got better stuff in the run when they started stopping the run when Joseph and Sue showed up. The edge rushing absolutely picked up with Sweat and Reddick when those two guys came in the building.
Absolutely.
Are you sold he's going to step in there?
He had an opportunity, and he showed that he could. I believe in he's good. I'm hoping he can because he's going to be the best thing we got going. We just got to come to reality that right now our two starting safeties are Reed Blankenship and Kayvon Wallace. Our starting corners are Big Play Slay, Avonte Maddox, and then you have Josh Jobe, who didn't see a snap. McPherson saw very, very limited snaps. Josiah Scott, limited. So, I mean, this
sounds like a practice squad.
Well, that's exactly what it is. That's the entire practice squad roster, Brad. So they've got to make some decisions. They got to sign some guy. Howie, make your money.
You think they extend Sirianni?
Yes.
Because they did, Doug?
Yep, they did. Well, more so because they extended offensive line coach. So
Stoutland.
Yeah, they extended him because they knew they had to. So they're not gonna let Nick go. He can't lead the building. They got to pay him accordingly. So those two are too close right now as far as what they're making.
So I've got to be holding up the barbecuing or something, man.
I got to get to work. I got to get to another job.
Hey, Barrett, thank you so much, man.
Appreciate you, big dog.
Man, I love watching you. By the way, I watch that show because of you. Okay, and T Gun, but hey, man. I mean, Rob's still crying about the '81 Super Bowl shit, man. I mean,
he will forever cry about it. It irritates him to this day, man.
Absolutely. Barrett, I love you, man. Tell your mom hi.
Have a good one, man.
You got it. The great Barrett Brooks. Love talking with him. Don't forget to catch him on Sports Take each and every single day, man. Those guys do such a great job. So you heard he named a practice roster for your defense. Hey, 49er guys. Okay? Hurts is 50 times better than Purdy. Well, Niner all day, all damn day. Jalen only got to one more game than you did. So when you say that, that's why I keep bringing that up. Brock Purdy makes $900,000, and he got to one less game than Jalen Hurts did. What's a win for the organization, Purdy or Hurts? Would you rather have the roster or a $50 million quarterback you're not sure could carry a roster that's lesser? You better be Patrick Mahomes. You have to be Patrick Mahomes. Okay? You have to be Patrick Mahomes. I'm both. By the way, and I'm not. Watch this, and don't have it land that I said Purdy's better than Hurts. That's not what I said. He's financial. You heard those names that Barrett Brooks was talking. Jalen Hurts' success makes you have a lesser team. But that's the league. They want that. Lucius goes like this: I'd rather have a lesser team and Hurts. Okay. Most teams go that way. Lucius, most teams go that route. What do you mean you don't believe that BS? You are going to have a lesser team. Sills, let's circle back. If you trade Jalen Hurts, you lose AJ. Does Kelsey resign? So you mean you're going to leave if a consensus 26-year-old MVP comes into your team? Well, then guess what? I'm not running a daycare center. I don't give a shit what you like. I don't run a daycare center. I'm the boss of the team. You'll play here because I pay you $25 million. Shut your mouth. Okay? I would not tolerate that kind of like Alshon Jeffries whispering in corners. You're paid to play here, not to be a PR rep. And I don't give a shit about that. Go play. I pay you. You're the player. I coach. I help with the GM. Go play. I don't need a public relations person. Okay? I don't need to have him handling my press briefings. Okay? I'm not letting my players go, well, I'm not playing here. Well, then then I don't have to pay you then. Okay. Right? All right. We got a ton to look at still. I want to ask you a Cowboy question. I want to ask you about the Cowboys. Also, I've got the draft in needs. Does Howie move up or down in the upcoming April draft? I'm going to do that one next. We also have the top 10 wide receivers, the top 10 quarterbacks. Is there somebody in the draft you might want behind Jalen? And the top offensive lineman, potentially going to Stoutland University. We're going to do that all next. Hour number 2. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Mess & Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Mess & Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer 3 major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
My name is Fran Salerno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers. Go for the cheers. Go for the hit and the hits. Go for the scene. Go for the screens. Go for the gallery. Go for the win. Go to Ocean.
Big Sills, National Football Show. Appreciate you coming aboard on this Friday. Thank you guys so much. Do you think the Dallas Cowboys should draft Dak Prescott's replacement? His eventual replacement. Do you think the Cowboys go into this draft? And by the way, Dak Prescott was either a fourth or fifth rounder. He was either a fourth or fifth rounder. How do you know you don't land on a guy in the fourth or fifth round if you're the Cowboys? Don't you realize you're not going anywhere with Prescott? You're not going anywhere with this player. You're not going anywhere. So again, I mean, do you run to get? You're stuck with this guy. He's a massive cap casualty if you move off the guy. If you're Dallas, you've got to figure it out. And it starts at the quarterback position. Let's just say this. Dak Prescott has put up some really good numbers. Guys, I'm going to say something here to you. You might think this is crazy. Okay? Isn't he just like the black version of Kirk Cousins? And Kirk Cousins is the white version of Dak Prescott? Right? Aren't these guys the same dudes? These guys are the same guys. Right? Aren't they the same dudes? Right. They're two sides of the same coin. They're the same dude. They are the same dude. I mean, 1 year he's good. 1 year he's bad. 1 year he's good. Isn't that Cousins? The Cowboys, the only reason that Dak's name is bigger is because he wears a star on his helmet. If Dak Prescott is the quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, he's the same guy. You're the Cowboys, man. I mean, you got Kirk Cousins as your starting quarterback. Tone says this. They always get their numbers, but when it matters most, they fold under pressure. Same dudes. Bingo. Hey, Dak is no different than Cousins. Look at their playoff records. It's almost identical. And by the way, watch this. Is Dak Prescott getting better? He's getting injured more. I mean, I don't see. Like, watch when I watch Patrick Mahomes, he's getting better because he's getting better coaching. Josh Allen stepped back. Why? Brian Dable's not in the building. Hey, and I love Ken Dorsey, but he ain't Brian Dable. Look at how much coaching matters in that league. Okay? Like, look at Justin Fields up in Chicago. How many people sit around really thinking that Justin Fields is getting good coaching in Chicago right now? They haven't had a all-pro quarterback in the building since Sid Luckman. That's over 60 years ago. Why in the world? The Bears never get the quarterback right. They never get the QB right. It's time for the Cowboys to have a conversation. And here, and by the way, Eagle guys are going, Sills, what are you doing here? Don't give them any ideas because we like the fact that they got Dak Prescott starting. I get it. But this is where you don't have to worry about that decision being made because you know why? Jerry Jones loves this guy. Like, look at Zeke Elliott. Do you know what Zeke Elliott has to have a conversation with his agent and with the Cowboys? You have to have a come-to-Jesus conversation where you do this to him. You're not the same player. You're 27. You want to hear this? You're the second best back in the history of the Dallas Cowboys. You are. Next to Dorsett, you're the second best back. Or wait, you're the third best back in Cowboy history. Okay? Emmett, Dorsett, and you. You're the third best in the history of the team since 1960. Quite an accomplishment. What are the numbers he has? Pretty amazing stuff that he's put out there. I didn't realize he had this. He's got 8,200 yards. He's got 68 touchdowns, 4.4 carry. He's the third best, and he's 27. He's the third best back in the history of the Cowboys. He's put up 8,200 yards. Okay? But it's time to do this. Son, you're not an $18 million guy. If you don't we want you here? I don't know. I don't want to give the Cowboy guys too many ideas because, in my opinion, I think you either move off him or he restructures that contract where it puts it down near $5 million a year. Because I could see him being a $5 million a year guy. He ain't no $18 million a year guy. And you're killing me. Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott are killing the Cowboys, which is great if you're an Eagle, Giants, or Washington fan. Okay? Random thought, Sileo. If the Cowboys cut Zeke, should the Eagles consider bringing him in as a red zone change of pace back? Man, would that be great. You weaken the Cowboys and you bring Elliott in. Absolutely. You got Zeke and Gainwell and Boston. That's better than what you had this year. With that O-line, by the way, Zeke Elliott behind that Eagle O-line, he could get 1,200 yards. If the Cowboys cut him, I'd pay $5 million for Ezekiel Elliott to be an Eagle, wouldn't you? They're going to do everything they can and move heaven and earth to keep Tony Pollard in the building. Okay? Hey, and don't you think Zeke would want to have a little ass back at Jerry for cutting him? Hey, nothing be said about an angry player trying to get back at a team that whacked him. I don't know, man. I might use that. Hey, if you're Howie using the one, hey, man, really shitty deal with the Cowboys and how they handled you, isn't it? Tell you what I'll do. Why don't we have a conversation and it's a little lunch? I'll take you down. We'll have a good Italian dinner down in South Philly. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll give you $20 million over 4 years. Come in here and play for the Cowboys. Or come in here and play for the Eagles. And you punch Jerry right in the head with one of his favorite players. Oh, man. Paul, I think behind that line, he got 1,000 yards behind that very suspect offensive line in Dallas. There's 2 players on that line. You got 4 really good players in that Eagle O-line. I don't know, man. I like that tone. See, people are going like this. That's a shitty move. That's because you look at him as a Cowboy. You guys would probably be the same guys that would say this. I don't want Michael Irvin on this team. What are you, crazy? Come on, Sileo. Hey, Sileo, would you want a Gator on your Canes team? Absolutely not. So I feel you. Okay? All right. I want to do something here. And I want to play war games with you again in the draft. We got a ton of shit to hit on today. Okay? This is a blueprint on how we do it 10 and 30. And what I did was I didn't write players down. I wrote needs down. Okay? This is the 31 picks and every team's need. So let's start it out here. By the way, give me your top two needs that you would use your first two picks on if you're the Eagles. What are the two biggest needs? Give me your two biggest needs. Okay? What are the two biggest needs on the Eagles going into the draft? I know it's hard, free agency. I get it. I understand. Cornerback and safety. Don't give me names. I don't want names. Cornerback and linebacker. It says tone. Cornerback and DT. Cornerback and wide receiver 3. Would you waste the first rounder? I might want to wait until, what is it? The third round at 94 for that. Okay? Had a great conversation with Coach Johnson last night. So I'm going to give you guys a lesson from a coach who created the Cowboy dynasty. Let's start here with the picks. Cornerback and running back, cornerback and edge. CJ, that's kind of where I am, is cornerback and edge. So watch this. 10. If I had my choice, CB. 30, edge. How about number 62? What do you think would be a need in the second round at 62? I don't want to put my, would you trade down, go into the third, get another third rounder? Let's not do that. Let's just go at 62. What would you do at 62 in the second round? O-line, DT, running back and DT. Or how about running back and linebacker? There you go, Bob. Running back and linebacker. Third round, O-line, DT. The sevens is where I'm going to get my number 3. I might even use both my sevens. Okay, so we've identified what kind of mentality we are. Cornerback at 10. Edge, if he's there, at 30. Running back at 62. The third round, maybe O-line or DT. And the 2 sevens, maybe I replace Quez somewhere in there with those 2 sevens. Maybe I trade one of my sevens to move up into the 6th or 5th round. Okay, we could do all that. All right. So let's go here now into the draft. The Bears. No trades. You got Justin Fields. They need D-line. Got $94 million. So the corner's not there at the first pick. An edge rusher could be, or the kid Carter could be there. The Bears need D-line help. This is where I think Javon Hargrave, if you're the Bears, does Javon Hargrave make more sense at $18 million? Or do I draft a kid in the D-line at 1? I think they take the kid Carter. The Texans, they need a quarterback. They're going to take, and this is one of their 2 first-round picks, so they get an opportunity to address needs later also. This is where I think Bryce Young, they need a quarterback, okay? This helps the Eagles out. You see where we're going here? We're going to get an idea who's going to be sitting there around 10. Texans are drafting Carter over Bryce Young. They need a quarterback. They're not going into it with David Mills. Bears trade back, get their. I'm not, probably. Tone, I'm not doing trades today. Sydney goes, Fields must be watching. Hurts think he get there. Right, he's got to improve in his passing. They need help. Yeah, I'm not doing any trades right now. I agree with all that. Because you'll trade with need. As we get closer to April, this will change. But I'm going with where we are today. The Cards need a pass rusher. They're a desperate need. They're losing the kid Allen to free agency. The kid from Boston College. Zach Allen is going. J.J. Watt's retired. They couldn't figure out Hassan Reddick. They need an edge rusher. Okay? The corner's still hanging in there. Witherspoon and Gonzalez still dropping. Colts, they need a quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback in the building probably since Phillip Rivers. Okay? This is giving us an idea what players are going to be there at around 10. You need a quarterback. C.J. Stroud? Will Levis? The kid from Kentucky? Probably Stroud. Looking pretty good so far. Seahawks. Do they draft the heir apparent for Geno? Probably not. I think at 5, Anthony Richardson's too much of a reach. They've got 2 first-rounders also. They need a pass rusher. Seattle needs an edge rusher. Right, Bob? They need an edge rusher. Look at what's falling to Philly now. Okay? Again, Will Anderson's going to be one of these edge rushers. Okay? So Will's not going to be there. Raiders. You think the Raiders address their quarterback need in the free agent market or in the draft? Raiders are in Vegas. Aaron Rodgers makes all the sense in the world there. But the Raiders need a quarterback. Okay? Do they take Anthony Richardson here? Do they take the kid from Stanford? They need a quarterback desperately. We're all the way down to 8 now. Here's the Falcons. They need D-line and quarterback help. Okay? Now, here's one thing to think about with the Lions. Are you moving forward with Jared Goff, or do you draft his potential replacement? Can you imagine if the Lions trade for Aaron Rodgers? They wouldn't do it because it's the same division, but don't think that's unprecedented. Remember when Bledsoe got traded to the Bills in the AFC East? When they realized Brady was their guy? They traded him to they traded him to the Bills. He just signed a $117 million contract too, and they traded him to the Bills. Number 9, Panthers. O-line, quarterback. Richardson? O-line? They have to get that. That O-line is awful in Carolina. Frank told me they really want O-linemen. Now we're down to the Eagles. Corner. Witherspoon, Gonzalez, Porter. Or because the Titans and the Texans and the Jets. Titans need O-line and a quarterback. Texans are going to get a wide receiver for the brand new toy they got at 2. And the Texans or the Jets may be in the market for a quarterback and O-line. If you're the Eagles, do you trade with the Jets? Joe Douglas, baby. And you flop picks 10 to 13 and get Witherspoon at 13. And get yourself another first rounder next year or potentially an opportunity to get a second or maybe even a third. Because if a quarterback's sitting at 10 and it's Stroud or it's the kid from Kentucky, I think the Jets are going to take him. Patriots need a corner. You don't want to go down to 14. Yeah, but wait. See, JC goes, it's too risky. Wait a minute. Too risky? Both the corners are going to be on the board. Gonzalez and Witherspoon. Both guys are going to be on the board. What's the risk? The Texans need an O-line. The Titans need an O-lineman and a quarterback. They're not going to take a quarterback. They got to draft an O-lineman. Why? They still got Derrick Henry. The Texans are going to get a wideout for Bryce Harper. They just drafted. The Jets, God, let there be a quarterback there. If not, they're going to get the kid from Northwestern. You don't want to go down to 14 because the Pats, they make a living having great corners. You know, now the big thing would be here. Patriots moving up, but then you negotiate, and the Eagles will have the leverage here. The problem for the Eagles is the Patriots at 14. Okay? Because the Patriots need a corner. Okay? Patriots want a corner. Personally, I think you're going to be bidding with New England and trying to outbid New England for Witherspoon or Gonzalez, because I think both guys are going to be there at 10. I just pointed out to you the needs of these teams. When you're in the top 10, you don't go best player available. You do that in the third round and 3 through 7. You don't do that in the top 10. You go by need in the top 10, not by who's the best player available. Howie is patient in the draft. He's patient in deals. And what you do is, pre-draft, you go like this. Now, the problem that you have is you're going to want to wait as the draft is going on. Why? If you have a pre-draft deal, say with the Texans, the Patriots could jump up to 11 with the Titans because the Patriots aren't taking a quarterback. There's a lot of quarterbacks. I'm going to show you where people 1, 2, 3, 4. There's probably 4 quarterbacks that are going to go in the first round. Packers at 15. Wide receiver, tight end. Let's see what else falls as we get to 30. Commanders need a quarterback. They may trade up. What if the Eagles go to the Commanders at 16? Or Commanders at 16 if one of those guys in those corners are still on the board. You might get another first rounder this year. Steelers, O-line. They drafted Kenny Pickett. They got to protect him now. Lions. Do they draft their quarterback here? Richardson? O-line. 19. Buccaneers, running back. Are you sold on Kyle Trask? It's Gator country, too. Anthony Richardson here. Right? It's Gator country. Tampa's Gator country. He goes Gators, Knowles, Canes. Or Gators, Knowles, USF, And then probably Canes. 19's a little high for the kid from Texas for me. But I could see him going there. Seahawks. Second first rounder. Wide receiver. You know, they've had conversations on moving DK Metcalf. They've had a ton of conversations on moving him. Chargers, wide receiver, probably Mike Williams' last year, Keenan Allen's last year in Los Angeles. Justin Herbert, you're working on a contract extension. Ravens, cornerback. I think the Ravens will move up because they need a corner. They're targeting Gonzalez and Witherspoon. So they may try to get ahead. God forbid, because I'm going to tell you that. And by the way, if you're the Eagles, you want one of those corners. Okay? The Ravens want to get to 10 to get Witherspoon. Howie gets another first rounder, gets an edge rusher. Sign CJ, moves him the corner on the other side of Slay. You're kind of cool. And you get an edge rusher and another first rounder. Vikings D-line at number 23. Jags at defensive tackle. You see, Yale, I don't know if Lamar wants out, guaranteed money, or more money. I still don't know what he's doing. Giants wide receiver at number 25. Cowboys edge rusher at 26. Bills O-line. I'm going to show you what's falling here to 30. Bengals tight end at 28. Saints wide receiver at 29. Eagles at 30. Edge, we identified that. There's some pretty good edge rushers, but I think there's going to be a run on them. So if I'm Howie at 30, do you move out and offer the deal? To me, I think you move out of it. Because to me, I want more seconds and thirds. Because you can get great players and you're not going to overpay and you get cheaper in your roster. I'm going to take that 30th pick and I'm going to move out of the first round, and I want a 2, a 3 in the 23 draft, and I want a 4th rounder in the 24 round, in the 24 draft. If I can get 3 picks, premium picks for the 30th, I'm doing it. You give me another 2 plus my compensation picks and another 3, Howie Roseman will own day 2 of the draft. He'll own it. And the Chiefs need an edge rusher. All of this is setting up because why? The quarterback situation in Philadelphia has been solidified. Look at the leverage that you have and the latitude that you have in where you can go here. Because look, here's the problem that you have. if I'm going to go into free agency and I'm going to sign guys in free agency, why wouldn't I just re-sign my guys? Why wouldn't I do that? You are going to have undrafted guys, and you're going to have draft choices. You're going to have to resemble. Yale, you guys, hey, you're going to have to resemble what Kansas City looks like. I mean, outside of Chris Jones, what does Kansas City have? They drafted a guy in the first round hey, Tone, what round did they take the kid from Washington, the corner? Did they grab him in the first round? Hey, by the way, did you see that New Orleans just restructured Honey Badger's deal? Boy, I'll tell you what, if I'm the Benson family, I am totally asking what in the world is going on with Mickey Loomis. Are you feeling well? So the Eagles got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and they also got a first-round pick out of him. Man, you have to restructure Honey Badger's deal. Jesus Christ, because you're in cap hell. Holy cow, man. So they took the kid from Washington in the first round. Well, that's a great thing because you know why? They're cheap there. He was the 21st pick, and he's a starter in the Super Bowl. Dude. Hey, Neil goes, there's value on day 2. There's massive value. I'm going to show you massive value in day 2. Watch this. Stars in the game today. A.J. Brown. Jalen Hurts. DK Metcalf. Devontae Adams. Cooper Kupp. Derrick Henry. Right? I mean, we're talking about star football players. These are guys that were all taken on the second day. Travis Kelce. Deebo Samuel. Almost every single elite wide receiver. Do you know that 60% of the all-pro wideouts in the last 10 years have been drafted not in the first round? You could make that contention across the board at numerous positions. Okay? Dallas Goedert, another second-day guy. Thurman Thomas, second-day guy. Joe Montana, second-day guy. The greatest quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, Brady and Montana, one went in the 6th and the other guy went in the 3rd. Do you understand that those two men, between them, have 11 Super Bowls? And they were drafted in the 3rd and the 6th round. Russell Wilson, 3rd round. Right. I think you get your wideouts, your big-time superstar wideouts, in the 2nd round. Okay, now look, are there Jamar Chases? Are there Justin Jeffersons? Absolutely. But think about Howie's mistake with Rager. I get it, man. You chose wrong. Jefferson's the star. It happens. I mean, look, do you think the Dolphins would like to redo that draft over and take Justin Herbert over Tagovailoa? I mean, if you're the Miami Dolphins, you must be looking at that going, damn, we took Tagovailoa at 5, and Herbert went after him. Right? Hey, JC, I mean, look, and hey, poor Tua, man. Again, health is an issue. Availability will always be part of an evaluation. So, guys, trading back, look, the one thing that you have to understand, don't look at the names on the back of the jerseys. Look about positions that the Eagles are filling. Here's the positions that I think you're going to have to fill. You're going to have to fill a corner. I think you're going to have to fill a safety. you're going to have to fill a defensive tackle. I think you're going to have to fill one linebacker because you're going to put Dean in there, okay? So you got 4 starters on defense that you've got to fill. I think you got to fill a running back. You've got to fill a right guard. Not only that, but you've also got to fill depth in Andre Dillard leaving. O-line, depth. That was an essential part of the success of the team. Jack Driscoll's decent. I call him a buoy hugger. You know what that is? That's a guy that's out to sea, and he's just holding on to the buoy, and he's rocking back and forth. He's kind of just hanging on there. Okay? Running back, right guard, O-line, WR3. And how about this? Look, the backup tight end, I thought he's okay, but I'd like to get another one in there. Guy who can actually catch the ball. So I think you need a tight end 2, a running back, a right guard. Those are starters too. O-line and wide receiver 3. So in my opinion, wide receiver 3, O-line, RG, RB, tight end. I'd like to get another edge rusher in the draft, but these are positions you have to replace. TJ Edwards, you're going to have to replace one of the linebackers. 2 of your defensive tackles. Your starting tackles are gone. D goes, non-terminal case of rigor mortis. I think some of that rubbed off on Quez's hands. So you can always do this. Hey, whatever happened to Quez Watkins? Oh, he called Rageritis. What do you mean? Yeah, man, Jalen Rager. He caught his disease. What's that? He can't catch. He called Rageritis. Jalen Rageritis. Man, that's a sick-ass disease, man. Sometimes it jumps on you, man. And you know what the thing about there's no cure to it either. There's just no cure to Rageritis. Hey, Sills, let's discuss Spotify. Nah, I'm not doing any of that. We're good. It's kind of funny how you're talking about how bad Watkins was weeks before he dropped the football in the Super Bowl. I just never thought he was an impact guy. I just never thought he was. Seals, who are the backs? I gave the names. This is what we're going to do here. Hang on here. This is where we're going to go here. You guys want to look at the wideouts next? The quarterbacks? Or the top O-line? Yesterday we did edge rushers, running backs, cornerbacks. I think we did linebackers too. Quez Watkins is no hands. Let's do the wide receivers. Let's see if we can find a wide receiver 3. Okay, and if you'd want to spend the equity of maybe a 62. Or again, if you trade out with 30, getting yourself a couple more 2s and 3s. Let's do that. Hit the like button. We'll look at the top prospects heading into the combines on Monday. They're showing up this weekend in Indianapolis at the combines. These are your top prospects at wideout. We're going to do that next. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messon Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Messa & Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
My name is Fran Sileo, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Big Sil's National Football Show. Appreciate you coming aboard. Please hit the like button. I just got a text from Coach Johnson. Yeah. Because this article is going around South Florida now, because just like Eagle fans thinking that the media urinates on you guys, the media, they don't urinate on Miami as much as they used to because they don't win. They don't win like they used to. But Coach wants that. Coach wants that, and Jimmy are like, man, this thing still. You guys are in your 50s now and in your early 60s, and they're still talking. I go, well, that's the impact we had. By the way, speaking of Miami, before we move on to the wideouts, why is Caleb Williams of USC telling people now publicly that he wants to play for the Dolphins when he's not even eligible for the draft? What's the point in that? What's the point? The Dolphins are not going to sit around and wait for Caleb Williams. Are you expecting the Dolphins to tank after they just gave Tyreek Hill $25 to $30 million? Why would he do that? Well, I'd like to play with the Dolphins. Kid, worry about winning the Pac-12 first. Worry about winning the Pac-12. Okay? Worry about beating Utah. That kind of shit right there, to me, that's the stuff right there you'd never get out of Jalen Hurts. That's the stuff that makes you raise your eyes and go like this. Dude, he's got a whole group of dudes that are Southern Cal guys right now, and he's barking that he wants to play with the Dolphins. Kid, hey, I get your dreams. Your dream should be to want to play in the NFL. Okay? I mean, something's wrong with that dude. Painted FU on his fingernails before the Utah game. Weird and gross. Steven, that's kind of where I'm going. I think he's a Fruit Loop. I think he's kind of like weird. FU Utah? I want to play with the Dolphins? I mean, he's weird. Is that a guy you want to spend the first pick on? He's like Aaron Rodgers all over. I mean, do I want that? FU Utah, and they spanked you. Sills, can you do the gritty? Not in a million years. Big Sills is gritty. How you doing? I think he's weird. Dude. Hey, let me paint my fingernails. That's weird in itself. Okay? That's weird in itself. But then again, he's in California now, so I don't know. Hey, I don't even know what that meant, but I mean, do you like my fingernails? I mean, what do you do to your boys after you write something on your fingernails? Like, couldn't you do it on your sock? Do you like my fingernails? Could you imagine one of my Miami teammates coming up to me like Michael Irvin? Sills, you like my fingernails? Hoss, you know better than this. Hoss, you know I'll eat you in a minute. Bro, I don't want to put the fear of God in you, but I'm going to do that. You put the fingernails on my face again. I'd have broke his fingers. Dan, what do you think of my fingernails? Kid, we're going to, this ain't working. Hey, this ain't working. FU Utah. I don't even know why. Hey, Tone, I don't even know why I'm acting like Caleb Williams. I don't even know if he acts. Hey, FU Utah. I don't even know why I wonder if I could do it with a straight face. FU. I can't. Wait a minute. FU Utah. I can't do it. That's not how I do it. FU Utah. See my nails? You're a weird dude, man. I want to play in Miami with my with all of my Legos. Dude, you're a little creepy. Hey, Joseph, I'm going to take my Tonka toys, my logo, and my painted fingernails and go to South Beach. Okay. You're a weirdo. So are you going to kind of like go on that like dark retreat with Aaron Rodgers? Can you imagine him? They're painting each other's fingernails and toenails. Wait a minute. Here's the ultimate retreat. Caleb Williams and Aaron Rodgers painting each other's toenails in the dark in Oregon. FU Green Bay. Yeah, FU Utah. I don't even know what I'm talking. Again, I don't know why I'm talking like that. Holy cow. Yeah. Ugh. That'd be some retreat. Passing around a little bit of, They're passing the hookah around. Not that I know what a hookah is or anything. Aaron? Oh, my God. I have no idea why I'm talking like that. Aaron? Yeah? It's like watching I bet you if you had Caleb Williams and Aaron Rodgers in the same room, it would be like watching The View. Hey, Sills, it's 2023. Be careful. I hear you, man. You got to always be a little cognizant here. Yeah, that retreat would be like watching The View. Oh. Painted toenails for a football player. FU Utah. I want to play in Miami. God, dude, you're weird. Shut up, man. Win the Pac-12. Oh. By the way, real quick, before we get to the wide receiver list. And no, hey, Mara, no, I've never watched an episode of The View, so I just heard it's weird. Yeah, I just heard it's weird, so I don't really watch that. Okay, no. Hey, but I tell you what I did watch. I watched Eric Bieniemy's press conference, and anybody who told you that guy doesn't speak well in public or he interviews poorly, that's a lie. Eric Bieniemy handled himself like a pro in Washington, and he was awesome at the press conference. I was pretty impressed with him. I was like, damn. Now, look, that don't mean you're a great coach. Hence Nick Sirianni's weirdo press conference. Okay? But, man, I'll tell you something. He was very mature in front of that mic, and they kind of asked him about some stupid stuff in his past, and he answered it like a professional. He knows what he's doing in front of a microphone. And, you know, people were trying to make the notion that this guy here you can't talk to. He's not very good. He doesn't interview well. I'm telling you, man. Sills knows what The View is. He's a closet watcher. Yeah, I don't think so. Just like I don't paint my toenails. Tone goes, sometimes you have to make a lateral move in order to put yourself. Tone, don't do that. Look at what Tone just did. Sometimes you have to make a lateral move in order to put yourself in a position. I'm going to finish Tone's comment. Sometimes you have to make a lateral move in order to put yourself in a position for the best opportunity in the long term if you're a black coach. I added that. Is that fair, Tone? I'll add that part. Everything Tone said is right. But if you're a black coach, Jonathan Gannon, what was his credentials? What was Shane Steichen's credentials? 1 year? I mean, a shitty Super Bowl? Kyle Shanahan got the job after having a 28-point lead in a Super Bowl against Brady. How did he get the job? So, I mean, Eric Bieniemy, if they would have lost the Super Bowl, you think he'd be the offensive coordinator of Washington? Highly doubtful. Well, that's a great move for a black coach, taking the same gig and two white coordinators get head coaching jobs. The Jonathan Gannon and Shane Steichen, that to me poisons any conversation you have about Eric Bieniemy. Okay? How do you know Shane Steichen's a good coordinator? Jalen Hurts is your coordinator. It's an RPO offense. What's he doing? Hey, Jalen, when you see the safety, it's your call. That's coordinating? Or is that the quarterback's decision-making when he's on the field? I don't know if that's coordinating. Right? Joseph goes, people were acting like Eric Bieniemy was going to come out there throwing turds and dropping F-bombs He was totally professional. He was awesome. I thought he was great. Okay, so Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon get a job. They never had head coaching jobs in their entire coaching careers. And they're head coaches in Arizona and in Indianapolis. Eric Bieniemy's got to have the assistant head football coach because there is a rule you can't take lateral moves in the NFL. So they had to add the assistant head coaching to a tag to it, which they did. And they gave him more money. And permission from the Chiefs to do it too. So Bieniemy could take that job. Hey, man, that's the sign right there. That here's the biggest problem that you have with black coaches in the NFL. And by the way, black coaches in college football, there's 137 Division I programs. There's like 10 black coaches, and most of them have shitty jobs. Now, I shouldn't say shitty jobs, but they're not the upper echelon programs. Freeman having the job at Notre Dame is a great sign. And by the way, I hate having this conversation because you know why? I don't want a black coach. I don't want a black coach. I want the right coach. But we have to have this conversation. You know why? Because there's not enough assistant coaches in the NFL, and there's not a big enough pool to pull from for those guys to go out and be head coaches. So I guess we have to have that conversation all the time. That's the shitty part about it. I don't want to have a affirmative action conversation on coaches. When you look at a coach in the face, I don't give a shit what you are. I want to win. Winning has no color, friends. Winning has no color. It's about desire, dedication, heart, knowledge, and belief in blind faith. You've got to believe that that coach is going to put, I told you this before. When you believe a coach, it's like believing in a priest. The priest tells you about God. You've never seen him. You hope he's there. You hope there's an afterlife because your preacher has told you and you have followed the ways and the guidelines of the Bible. Okay? But that's blind faith. It's the same with a coach. You have to have blind faith that that coach will lead you to the promised land of winning. There's no difference. There's absolutely no difference in it. That's why when outside entities and sources add in race, I have no idea what that means when it comes to listening to a coach or following a coach's directive, especially if you trust them. I don't trust you because you're black. I trust you because you're knowledgeable, because you've won, because you've led other players to the promised land. That's why I follow you. Eric Bieniemy having to have that, and again, I'm an Italian guy talking, not having walked in black African-American folks' shoes. You know, you turn the gasoline pump on at night for me at 11. For Tone, you won't. Okay? I'm not talking white privilege stupid shit here. I'm talking about the way the world is. So when Big Sil says this, it's just from me watching. All my friends have to go through this. Okay? I had to have a conversation about Eric Bieniemy not getting a job at Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon do. You follow winning. All right. Wide receivers. Quarterbacks. Top O-line prospects. We're going to reset. You guys are awesome. I appreciate it on this Friday. Hit the like button. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messon Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Messon Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing. The second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs. And then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
My name is Fran Sileo. I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Still National Football Show. Would you quantify Jalen Hurts as being elite? We just posted something on the JAKIB Sports Twitter page. And it put his numbers up there. I could put numbers up that dwarf him and make Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott dwarf his numbers. What's the word elite? By the way, since the hey Tone, can you help me out here? Since the 2-5 start, that could be coaching too. Okay, since the 2-5 start of the 2021 season, what's Hurts' record been as a starter? Let's see. It's got to be something like 18-1 this past year. And it's got to be like 27 and it's got to be something like 27-6. Since the 2-5 start, it's got to be some 16-1 and youngest quarterback to start a Super Bowl ever. Super Bowl is a team effort. Okay, so I'm build a resume. He's 27-4. Is that what it is, Jeffrey? Since the 2-5 start, does it sound right, Tone? 27-4. That was pretty. Now, they didn't play anybody. Not on him. I do not believe Jalen Hurts is elite yet. Okay? He had an elite moment. So did Wentz. So did Foles. So has a lot of quarterbacks. Elite to me is consistency over a long period of time. 1 year is not elite. That's like telling me Roger Maris was elite. Elite is an extended period of time. And that to me is Michael Jordan's elite, not because he won one championship, because he won 6. That's elite. The guy in Kansas City's elite. And you guys will go like this. Well, Sills, do you think Josh Allen's elite? No. Do I think Jalen Hurts has the potential to have elite ability? Yes. Allen, yes. Is Burrow elite? Getting there. 2 straight AFC championship games, a Super Bowl, plus the numbers he's putting up. He's got a good team around him. He's getting there. He's not elite yet. I think Wayne Gretzky, that's elite. That's elite. 1 year, Hawk, is not elite. That's not elite. He wasn't elite in the NFC playoffs by far. I could put your Kirk Cousins numbers up too over the last 18 games, and I'll show you elite. And you'll go, that's Cousins? Shit, they won 14 games. Yeah, but they went to the Super Bowl. Okay. So did Carson Wentz and Nick Foles, Trent Dilfer, Jimmy Garoppolo. So did those guys. Elite's got to matter, and to me, it means consistency. Mahomes is complete. Mahomes, how about this? I'll make a comment to you. I think Patrick Mahomes is off to a better start to his career than what Peyton Manning was. I think he's off to a better start. Burrow is getting there. 2 straight AFC title games, 3-1 versus Mahomes. He's getting there. 3 years don't make you elite. Brady's elite. Mahomes is elite. Manning's elite. Rodgers is elite. Rodgers is elite. Last 4 years, he's won 3 MVPs. I don't know. Or 2 MVPs. I don't know. That's pretty impressive. This guy's got more MVPs, I think, than Brady. Montana's elite. Montana's elite. That's elite. That's elite. Emmitt Smith's elite. Sanders is elite. You know, in 10 years, Barry Sanders averaged 1,500 yards rushing. That's elite. That's elite. Charlie goes, give Hurts time. Allen, Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, I completely agree. 1 year doesn't make you elite. Ask Carson Wentz that. Were you guys calling Carson Wentz elite after 1 year? You were, weren't you? You were. 22-5, man. That's great. Since the 2-5 start. That's the foundation you're pouring to be elite. You're jumping the gun. He's not elite. 1 year does not make you elite. So all the years that Geno Smith sucked out loud, the 10 previous years, Geno Smith's now elite because he was in the MVP conversation and made the Pro Bowl. Jalen Hurts is not elite after 1 year. Here, by the way, 30 games don't make you elite. Okay? The floor is set for him. Yes. And by the way, I'm going to show this to you here. You know that record that Jalen Hurts has since the 2-5 start? Remember this, and this goes on the side of the conversation of him building himself a heck of a resume. Don't ever let anybody tell you, well, the NFC sucks. And that includes me. Because I'm going to make a point to you here. Do you know what Tom Brady's record was in the AFC East? For his 21 years in New England? You know what his record was? He was 90-22. if you look up at Montana's record in the NFC West when he played out there, nobody challenged him. So there may not be anybody that's really a contender in the NFC right now, and the NFC is completely down. Well, Tom Brady wasn't competing against a lot of – the Bills stunk. The Dolphins stunk outside of the Chad Pennington one year. The Jets have always stunk, except for Fireman Ed and Jody McDonald. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Okay? I'm kidding. Brady was 90-22 in the AFC East. Okay? And Jalen was spectacular in the Super Bowl. He was. It was great. And quite frankly, if you really look at it, that was probably the best Super Bowl Mahomes played of the three. That's elite. You've been to 3 Super Bowls and you're 27? That's elite. Okay? What's the most elite thing that he's done? Not team-wise. What's the most elite thing Jalen Hurts has done? Not team-wise. There's a ton on what Mahomes has done. No, it's not hating. It's defining. You were called. So, under the premise of Hawk, Carson Wentz was elite. You paid him. He finished second in the MVP voting. He was elite too, right? After 1 year? You called Wentz elite, right? If we're going to use the same barometer that you're using for Hurts, all of you called Wentz elite. Yes or no? Yes or no? Was Carson Wentz elite? Carson Wentz lost one game that year, the year you won the Super Bowl. 1 or 2, I think. Led the NFL, was it touchdown passes that year? According to you, that call Jalen Hurts elite after 1 year, you called Carson Wentz elite. Is that fair? Yes or no? Jalen wasn't elite his first year starting. He was elite this year for 2023. The same way in 17, Carson Wentz helped lead your team to a Super Bowl win, actually. So, how can you sit here on today, on February 24th, telling me that you think Jalen Hurts is elite, and he put up the same stuff that Carson Wentz did? So were you calling Wentz elite? If you're calling and you're using your standards, you thought Carson Wentz was elite. That's not what I said, Mask. Once again, the organization thought he was elite. They gave him a $38 million contract. Somebody thought he was elite. Finished second in the MVP voting, just like Jalen did. Helped get his team to a Super Bowl trophy. Was Wentz elite? With your standard, Wentz was elite. Had one great year. Actually had 2. Actually, what's crazy about Wentz, he holds your single season records for passing. And pretty much every statistic, touchdown passes, yards, only quarterback with 4,000 passing yards. He's it. Let's see. Jalen's 2-2 in the playoffs now. Okay, not bad. Nice start. He's 2-2. That's not bad. Didn't play very good in all but one, which was the most important game, which kind of covers up the other shitty 3 that he played. Tampa game was terrible. Wasn't asked to do anything in the other 2. The Super Bowl, he was great. Again, this is where you get truth here. Elite, to me, are guys like this that put standards together every year. Can I tell you that this is the best year that Patrick Mahomes has played in his entire time in the league? You know why? He lost players, and there was no effect on the team. They won a ton of games. They won the Super Bowl, and they're a lesser team than the first Super Bowl that they won. That's elite. That's keeping it going, no matter who's on your roster. Most of the time, these quarterbacks that all get paid, their team disintegrates around them, coaches get fired, organizations make poor moves, and it's never the same. That's a trend that happens. Dak Prescott, look at his team. Green Bay, look at his team. Arizona, fired the coach, fired the GM, paid the quarterback. There's nothing elite about this. It's a fantastic beginning. But to call a guy elite after 1 year, the standards in Philadelphia are not very high. Because Carson Wentz had the same start to his career pretty much as Jalen Hurts did. If Jalen turns around next, watch this. I'll say this to you. Jalen turns around, Tone, I'll go here. If Jalen Hurts turns around, they win the NFC East this year coming up. Say they win 12 ball games. You know, you can go just as far. The Eagles aren't going to win as many games as they did a year ago, but I don't care about that. I care to get to the NFC title game. That's the only – dude, you can win 9 games to get to the NFC title. You had the same year you had last year. You had a better team last year. Who cares? It's about getting to your destination. It's not how you swim. It's not how you drive. It's how you arrive. And if you get there, who cares? You think the Giants cared that they didn't have the same undefeated season that the Patriots had that year? They beat them in a Super Bowl. They were a 10-6 football team. You think that mattered? Nobody gives a shit about that. Nobody even remembers what the Giant record was that year. Okay? Nobody remembers. I agree. Yale to buy is an essential part of – yeah, but if you get 10, 11 wins and you win the bye or you get into the NFC title game, I don't care how you get there. No, that's right. Sam said now it's 9-8. Let's look at the wideouts. Let's take a look at the wide receivers here that are going to be the top prospects going into the NFL draft. I will never in a million years ever do this. Call a quarterback or a player an elite player after one great year. That is not elite. It is not. It is not. If you want to use a technical term like Tone, he had an elite year. I've seen elite years before by players, never duplicated. Watch this. How many people think that Cooper Kupp is elite? How many people think Cooper Kupp's elite? Cooper Kupp stats. How many people think Cooper Kupp is an elite wide receiver and a Hall of Fame wideout? Any of you? had arguably the greatest year in the history of the National Football League. Wait a minute, Des. This guy was in the conversation for the most valuable player award, finished second. Here. You tell me if this is elite. 869 yards. 566 yards. 1,100 yards. Shit, Devontae did that. 974. 812. 1947. Do you think that guy's elite? Would you take Cooper Kupp over Devontae Adams, A.J. Brown, Deebo Samuel? Would you take? I wouldn't. Reliable. Okay. That doesn't mean elite. That's not elite. You want to see what elite is? Antonio Brown's stats. I'll show you elite. 110 catches, 1,499, 129 catches, led the NFL, 1,698. 136 catches, led the NFL, 1,834. 106 catches, 1,284. 110 catches, 1,633. 110 catches, 1,397. That's elite. That's elite. Cooper Kupp couldn't shine Antonio Brown's shoes. That's elite. Okay? You have 1 year, and Kupp is the greatest example of it. It's a historical year in Rams history. Jalen had, I would put this in a conversation, Jalen had one of the best quarterback years in Eagle history, for sure. Okay? So did Carson Wentz. It's not elite. My wide receivers, who I consider elite. Rice is the greatest offensive player in the history of the National Football League. Okay? He's the greatest offensive player. 200 touchdowns and averaged touching the ball for a 21-year career 6 times a game. And in that process is the greatest player ever in the history of that position, and it's not close. Rice was an all-pro and a Pro Bowler with the Raiders, too. Okay? And East goes like this, 307 passing yards in Super Bowl 57. Yeah, Foles had a better passing day than he did. Jalen Hurts didn't have a passing day that was better than Foles. Foles outplayed Brady. He was spectacular. Are you trying to suggest that you think Jalen Hurts had a better Super Bowl than Nick Foles? That's not true. That's actually a lie. You're changing the room. Okay? Foles had a better Super Bowl. Shit, Foles had a spectacular playoff run. You want to go there? All right. Yeah, and by the way, Foles can't keep a job anywhere else but what he did in Philly that year. And for the record, neither can Wentz. So both those guys won a Super Bowl for you, and they can't keep a job. What's that mean? All right, let's look at the wide receivers here. I love Nick's. That's one of the greatest Super Bowl performances of all time, though. It really is. I would say this to you. If I was going to, I'd put one of Montana's, probably the Bronco Super Bowl where they put up 55. I'd put, would we not agree? Hey, Yale, would we not agree that full Super Bowl performance could easily be a top 5 performance in the history of that game? Man, I'm trying. Namath only threw for 214 in Super Bowl III. I think it was like 214 or 204. Bradshaw against the Rams at the Rose Bowl was great. Bradshaw in the Orange Bowl against the Cowboys was great. Foles' performance, though, man, I put that in the top 5 greatest performances in the history of that game. He was just incredible. I think Brady's best performance, in my opinion, is against the Rams. When they beat the Rams. Okay? I think that was his best performance, was the Ram game. All right, let's take a look. Now, how about this, guys? I don't think do we agree? I don't think the Eagles need to spend. How high would you go in the draft to get a wideout? Big Ben was great. Okay. Actually, Batman, Hurts outgunned Mahomes in both games. He didn't need to do anything more. They were scoring at will against your defense. Shit. In the 2021 game, he had 358 yards. But you know the most important thing is? He's 0-2 versus Mahomes. So you're right. You take Hurts, I'll take Mahomes. Go ahead. Hey, go ahead. He outgunned him in the Super. Okay, so you want to take Hurts over Mahomes? Okay. He's on a lesser team, too, by the way. Throwing to Juju Smith-Schuster, who should be playing in Canada. Hey, Batman, you put Hurts on that Kansas City team with no O-line and one tight end, he ain't getting the Super Bowl. With that defense, he ain't that guy. Then again, no one is. You're taking it personal. Shit, Josh Allen's not. Joe Burrow's not. No, Hurts will, though. Of course. All right. Tone, how high will you go? Oh, Hawk, you just lost all respectability. That'll be the last time we mention you for a long time. Tone, how high will you go in the draft to try to look at another wide receiver on the other side of Devontae and AJ? How high would you go? Depends on what you do at 30. You could get yourself a couple 2s and 3s. 215 says 4th or 5th. I like that. You know what's funny? I don't even have this guy. Oh, he is Nathaniel Dell from Houston. He is on here. Okay. He is on here. You're right. He is on here. With our current draft pick situation, probably 4th. Okay. Quentin Johnston is the number 1 wide receiver heading into next week's combines. Kid from TCU. Do I have a problem with a wide receiver from TCU being that high of a pick? He's a top 10 pick. That's what they're saying heading into the combines. TCU throws the ball all over the yard. They don't play any defense. What kind of routes does he run? I'd have to really do my due diligence on him because the windows in the Big 12, man, I got a problem with the Big 12. They play no defense. I mean, is he CeeDee Lamb? Jalen Reagor ruined it for me. Hey, Tone, but look at us. Look what I'm saying. What kind of discipline do you have to run? Look at the way Devontae runs a route compared to CeeDee Lamb. Man, Devontae Smith is a better player than CeeDee Lamb. He's a better player. He is a better route runner. He's more athletic. He doesn't have the size that CeeDee does, but in my opinion, Devontae Smith's a better player than Lamb. He's a better player. Jalen continuing to improve his accuracy and his touch. Those two guys, they could be pretty formidable. Okay? They could be pretty formidable. But, give me another wide receiver from the Big 12 that's currently in the league now that's killing it. They just don't seem to run disciplined routes. And in that league, you have to have great technique. Help me out, guys. Is there maybe I'm missing it? Is there somebody else from Oklahoma? Sterling Shepard, is Sterling Shepard an OU guy? He's kind of good. Devontae's got better hands. Dank, Cup went to Devontae Adams went to Fresno State. I think Cup played at a smaller school too. Christian Kirk is kind of more a tight end, isn't he? Dez Bryant. I'm talking in the game today. Dez, I think Dez is an Oklahoma State guy. I'm talking in the game today. Sterling Shepard's an OU guy. Okay, well, he's kind of okay. See what I'm saying? These guys, they're so Josh Gordon went to Baylor. Oh, I know. The guy Mike Evans. Mike Evans went to Texas A&M. They were in the Big 12 then. Were they? Or were they in the SEC when Mike Evans? Because A&M was in the Big 12 and then went to the Southeastern Conference. I don't remember if Mike Evans was in the Big 12 or in the SEC when he went to the Bucs. He may have been in the SEC already, Mike Evans, because I think Mike Evans was Johnny Manziel's wideout. So he wasn't in the Big 12. I don't think he was in the Big 12 yet. Okay, I think Mike Evans was in the SEC already. Mike Evans did not play at Bama. He played at Texas A&M. No. Devontae Adams played at Fresno State with Derek Carr. Not true. You see what I'm saying? There's really nobody from the Big 12 that runs good routes, that have a pedigree of really producing. Like, watch this. Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, LSU. Man, those guys produce big-time wide receivers. Big time. Also, you're right, A&M was in the SEC when Evans was there. Okay, so Evans got there before they were in the old Big 12, and he's an SEC guy. So Evans doesn't count. So again, I'm like, you got to be proper. I mean, Devontae, he's such a great route runner. It doesn't shock me he had more catches than AJ. And I thought he was kind of limbering around a little bit, but after Dallas Goedert went out, he picked his game up. They targeted him more. So TCU, I got a problem with that. He's a top 10 guy. Shit, man. Your program doesn't produce top 10 people. Once the Daniel Tomlinson is the best player that I can think of that came out of that place. Number 2, Zay Flowers, Boston College. First round prospect. I watched him big kid, played in the ACC. I mean, really? The ACC guy, and he's not in Clemson. Let me think. An ACC guy. Anybody from Carolina? Anybody from Pitt? Syracuse? Miami? Florida State? I don't know. Boston College? Now, this kid, Jordan Addison, at Southern Cal, he was at Pitt, and he transferred. I watched him, and I watched him play at Southern Cal last year. I thought he got lost in games. This wide receiving core, I don't know. Jordan Addison, he does not impress me. He just doesn't. Watch it, Bird. I would draft him, but first pick, first round, I don't know, man. Jackson Smith, Najiba, Ohio State. I love wide receivers out of Ohio State. They're all playmakers. Ohio State produces, and they recruit the hell out of that position. They have game-changing guys that have played at that program. I'm interested in any – see, some guys go, Sills, it sounds like you recruit more programs. Yeah, because they have an ideology of what works in their program. Ohio State's got a history of really great wideouts producing in the league, and they're continuing to put them out. And as a matter of fact, if I'm not wrong, didn't Devontae Smith start his career at Ohio State? Did he not start his career at Ohio State before he transferred to Alabama? Did you guys know that? Devontae started his career at Ohio State, and he transferred to Bama. Did you know that? He's a Buckeye. Can you imagine the Buckeyes had Joe Burrow and Devontae Smith, and they let him go? You guys didn't know he was a Buckeye? Huh. Huh. No. Let me double check that. Did Devontae Smith go to Ohio State? I thought he committed. He committed to, college career. I'm thinking of somebody else. I thought when I saw him at the Heisman Trophy, oh, wait a minute. I'm confused with somebody else. My mistake. I'm trying to think. I thought there was somebody else that then went to Alabama. He came in as a true, I'm wrong at that. Take that back. Because I saw him when he won the Heisman. He was all over those Bama guys. I mean, all over those Ohio State guys. I thought there was a connection there between those guys. I thought that did Devontae Smith commit to Ohio State?
Here is information from Cleveland.com.
Right here. Smith is the Devontae Smith, former Ohio State football commit. Devontae Smith commits to Alabama. He changed his commitment. That's what it was. He changed his commitment, and he ended up going to Ohio State. He ended up going to Alabama. Okay, so he changed his commitment. That's what he did. Okay, he changed his commitment. That's right. That's right, Dank. I thought he was at the program. Here, let's move on here. Nathaniel Dell. Tone, you're right. You're right. Jamison Williams is the kid that was at Ohio State, who's at Detroit now. It's Jamison Williams. That's right. It does say in here, though, that Devontae did have a commitment to Ohio State, but then changed his commitment to Alabama. But it was Jamison Williams. That's right, Anthony. You're right. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, guys. I love that. Thank you. Thank you, Tone. Very cool. Nathaniel Dell. Day 2 guy. He's a redshirt senior. Jamie, hey, Anthony, thank you. Houston. Here's the one thing about Houston. They play in conference. They play in Conference USA. Is that it, right? Or are they in the American Conference now? All these changing of schools and where they are. Jamison Williams, right? Houston throws the ball all over the joint. Man, they put up a ton of numbers. And this kid, Dell, they're saying is a day 2 guy. He's a redshirt senior, which means when he comes into your building, okay, when he comes into your building, he's going to be a polished kid. So you guys are calling him Tank Dell. I got Nathaniel Dell, but I'm assuming that that's the same guy. Would you take him with a 3rd-round pick at 94? So you got Dell, Devontae, and AJ, and a $50 million quarterback, and you're continuing to develop and put offensive firepower around him. Man, you have 3 weapons. And then what you do, hey, watch this too, right? Guys, this is what you do also, right? So maybe you go back in and you don't have Miles Sanders. And you have a by committee running game with Gainwell, Boston. You get a free agent out there. Maybe you get the kid Singletary that the Buffalo Bills are going to move off of. You bring him in, right? And you kind of go around with a committee there. But your wideouts, check it out. Your tight ends, Goddard, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Tank Dell as your 3rd guy. I mean, your defense is not going to be your offense is going to have to be spectacular. Okay? Parker Washington, the kid from Penn State. I actually like this kid. He's a day 2 dude. He's a redshirt sophomore. Tell you one thing about a Penn State guy. They put out some pretty good wideouts. Penn State puts out linebackers, offensive linemen, and some pretty good wide receivers. I like this kid. Jalen Hyatt, Tennessee. Man, him and Hooker were absolutely spectacular. Okay? They were absolutely spectacular at Tennessee. Day 2 kid. He's a junior. Rashee Rice, SMU. SMU throws the ball a lot. He's a late day 2 guy. He's a senior. So if I had to circle where I think that the Eagles might look at, Dell, Washington, Hyatt. I think right there, those day 2 guys would be somebody maybe that they target. And you know what you want to do? Don't get a veteran guy in there. You don't need a veteran guy in the 3rd hole. Draft a guy. It's cheaper for you too. You know what I'm saying? That Hyatt kid, he killed Bama. That kid Hyatt, that's right. Way to go, man. You're exactly right, Des. That guy Hyatt killed Bama. I mean, he torched those guys. Man, I like him. Jalen Hyatt or Tank Dell, those 2 dudes for number 3, 94th pick. Not bad. Hit the like button. I want to take a look at the quarterback list and also the offensive line list. Thanks a lot for the help on that Jamison Williams stuff, guys. You guys were awesome. I appreciate that. Way to go. Tone, I appreciate that as well. Keep it here on the National Football Show.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messon Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com. Messon Associates, the toughest injury firm in Philadelphia.
Hi everybody, my name's Jason Lombardi. I'm an inspector at DryTech. At DryTech we offer three major services, the first one being basement waterproofing, the second service we offer is foundation and structural repairs, and then the third service that we offer is mold remediation. If you feel you are having a waterproofing issue, give DryTech a call or check us out online.
My name is Fran Soleno, and I'm a managing director here at Del Valle Insurance Group. Been in the business for over 36 years, saving people money on their insurance needs. Give us a call. Let us help you custom design an insurance plan that meets both your needs and budget.
Did you know taxes could be your biggest expense during retirement? Are most of your assets in tax-deferred accounts like IRAs and 401ks? Taxes are historically low today, but we're facing significant headwinds in the future. Do you have a plan? The Thrive Financial team has more than 100 years of experience helping people across the Delaware Valley with forward-looking tax planning. Learn how to shift your money from forever tax to no or low tax accounts. Get your Thrive Retirement Tax Playbook today.
Go for the beers, go for the cheers, go for the hit and the hits, go for the scene, go for the screens, go for the gallery, go for the win, go to Ocean.
Appreciate you guys coming aboard. Thank you so much. By the way, next week we're going to have on Kevin Colbert from the Steelers, Tom Telesco. These are all going to be guys from the Combines. And on top of that, Bruce Arians is going to join us too. And we're going to talk to him about the Buccaneers situation and all that too as we get ready. And remember something, when you're listening to these other executives and what they're looking for, what you can get a sense of what the hot positions are, who they're targeting, what players are good. Don't think organizations aren't listening and watching everything right now that are like, look at the Colts, what they're doing. The Colts are already told you kind of what their game plan is. They want Bryce Young. Okay? But what's funny about that is they don't have the number one pick. So you're basically telegraphing to the Bears right now what you want to do, and you're going to be willing. The Bears have you over the coals right now. You really want Bryce Young? Well, I would say this. To me, the Texans or the team in the two-hole is going to be the one because, quite frankly, they're going to get a quarterback. And if Bryce Young, unless the Bears make a move at quarterback there and trade away Justin Fields, the Texans are in the two-hole, which means that if the Colts want to get up to one, you're going to have to surrender a lot of picks, which you've already done. Brett goes, would you trade down? 30, I would. 10, I let the players fall to me, and then someone will panic, especially if the quarterbacks fall. Okay? Especially if the quarterbacks fall in the draft. And like Yale's saying here, if somebody comes to me and goes like this, well, I'll give you a 1 next year. Say for God, whatever reason, CJ Stroud drops to 10. Or even 8. And you know teams, like I said, like here. The Falcon, here, from 7 down, Raiders, Falcons, Panthers. If Stroud's there, he's going to one of those guys. Okay? But the kid from Kentucky's still going to be around. The Colts are in the 4-hole. They got to trade up to 1 with the Bears. They'll switch positions, plus get another first-round pick or a second-round pick, depending. The Bears don't have another 2. The Bears don't have another 1. It would have to be next year, or it would have to be picks in the second and third round of the 2023 draft. So if you're the Colts, the Bears have you if you want Bryce Young. And the Texans are going to take him. Right now, the Texans are looking at 2 quarterbacks, Stroud of Ohio State and Young, depending on what the Bears do. Now, could the Texans move up to 1 and switch positions with the Bears and get a 2? Sure. Then the Colts are shit out, and they're looking at C.J. Stroud. All those teams. Look at this. How many teams in the top 10 need a quarterback? Texans, Colts, Falcons, Panthers. And if you want to go here, the Lions, are you really 1,000% on Jared Goff? If C.J. Stroud's there, a Midwestern kid that played at Ohio State, are you passing on him? So you pass on C.J. Stroud for Jared Goff. We're not talking about Jalen Hurts here. You got to put kind of the Lions in that conversation too, don't you think? 5? So there's 5 teams in the top 10. That means that's such a – if I were the Eagles, I would be praying for all those quarterbacks to go in the top 10. Because all those position players then float down to 9, and you're sitting there with a bounty of players that are position players that are going to be just absolutely done. Look, the Bears are going to get either Carter or they're going to get Will Anderson. The Seahawks are going to get the Texas Tech kid, and the Cards are probably going to get the Iowa kid. The Lions, they're down too low to get Carter. They'd have to trade up. The Raiders need a quarterback. Now, depending if they go after Aaron Rodgers. Bird goes, Stroud's better than – I just have a problem with Ohio State quarterbacks. They've never had one that's good. Ohio State has never had a quarterback that was good, that played in the NFL. Ever. Like, ever. I mean, so, well, Mike Tomczak, Art Schlichter, they've never had a guy. Terrell Pryor. Next week is Combines. Man, we got it loaded and locked and loaded. We're going to have a ton of people on from Indianapolis. Man, it's going to be interesting to see how many of the – and you know what's going to be interesting to see also? The change in grades after they talk to the kids and work them out. Guys, have a great weekend. Have a safe weekend. Tone, spectacular job. Xander, Big Joe, thank you so much. Guys, we appreciate it. Please hit the like button. We'll catch you Monday going 3 to 6, and we'll see you on the flip side.
When it comes to the fight against insurance companies, large corporations, and the healthcare industry, injured victims are always the underdog. But that doesn't worry us. At Messon Associates, we're an injury law firm from Philadelphia, and we come to fight. Our clients know that they've got representation with a chip on its shoulder, and it's the same chip that makes Philly the toughest city in the country. Call 215-568-3500 or visit us online at messalaw.com.